August 1487, a Portuguese fleet set sail from the port of Lisbon. Their mission, it is about finding a new sea route to India. Leading this expedition, it was Bartolomeu Dias, who came from a distinguished family of seafarers. This journey is not a gamble. Rather, it is the result of half a century of exploration and accumulation by Portugal. From the time of the navigator Henry VIII, Portuguese sailing ships, they then frequently sailed into the heart of the Atlantic Ocean. They successively occupied Madeira Islands, Azores, and Cape Verde Islands, steadily pushing the route toward the unknown coast south of the Sahara. In 1463, after the fleet rounded the Great Bend of northwest Africa, arrived near Monrovia, Liberia today. Here, the Portuguese made an unexpected discovery, the pepper they dreamed of. This coastline was thus named the Pepper Coast. From then on, West Africa was like a treasure trove slowly being unveiled. The Ivory Coast, Gold Coast, and Slave Coast appeared one after another. The Portuguese took the gold from the West African interior. Ivory and slaves were continuously transported to the shore, then shipped back to Europe. To prevent other forces from interfering, the Portuguese imposed a strict blockade on these trading posts. As the fleet continued south to the vicinity of the Cameroon volcano, but to my surprise, the coastline shifted southward again, seemingly a path to hope in the east. It was suddenly blocked off near the equator. Subsequently, Portuguese sailors were at sea off the Cameroon volcano. 4 islands were discovered: Bioko, São Tomé, Príncipe, and Annobon. São Tomé Island was discovered on the 21st of December, 1470. It coincides with the Christian festival of Street Tomé, hence the name. The Portuguese later brought in 30,000 African slaves. The earliest sugarcane plantation was established on the island, and sugar processing center. In the next 10 years, Portugal focuses on the Gulf of Guinea. It rose rapidly through the gold, spice, and slave trade. In 1471, they repelled the Moors. Take Algeria and Tangier, completely control of the Strait of Gibraltar, make the West African shipping route more stable. But the only obstacle, the Canary Islands, are controlled by Castile. It's like a nail, firmly stuck on Portugal's shipping route. In 1479, under the mediation of the Pope, Portugal and Castile, signing the world's first spoils-sharing agreement, Treaty of Alcáçovas. The treaty clearly states, the Canary Islands belong to Castile, other undiscovered worlds. The latitude that runs through the Canary Islands is used as the boundary. North of the latitude belongs to Castile. South of the latitude line belongs to Portugal. In 1481, João II ascended the throne. He firmly upheld Henry's maritime ideals, make every effort to find a sea route to India. Thus, Portugal's maritime endeavors accelerated once again. He ordered the construction of Fort Street George da Mina on the Gold Coast, Meaning Street George's City, built on a gold mine. This is Portugal's second foothold on the West African coast. Since then, gold, slaves, and various other resources in the surrounding area. All of them can be transported to this place. They can be transported away once the ship docks. No need to spend several days at the beach. June 1482. The Portuguese expedition continued its southward journey from São Jorge. After driving about 2,000 kilometers, the largest river estuary in West Africa has been discovered. That is, the mouth of the Congo River. After the Portuguese landed, erect a stone pillar as a marker. Subsequently, some members ventured deeper into the interior in search of the treasure. The main fleet continued sailing south, returning after the column at Cape Santa Maria. Further south, they were surprised to find large tracts of desert have appeared along the coast. Desert coastlines are the terrain sailors dread facing the most. Due to lack of supplies, going deep into it is almost a death sentence. 1485. After the Portuguese fleet crossed approximately 1,000 kilometers of desert, still no end in sight, right at Cape Cross. After erecting the pillar, they decided to return to port. On their return journey, they were at the mouth of the Congo River. Bring back the group of explorers who ventured deep into the interior 3 years ago. These people went as far as 160 kilometers and brought back the Congolese prince's delegation. They were baptized in Portugal and learned Portuguese. Later, they helped establish the Christian Kingdom of Congo, August 1483. 487. João II organized another expedition. The team leader this time was Dias. They departed from Lisbon. First, arrive at Street George, then to Cape Cross, the southernmost point reached by predecessors. They then continued southward along the coast. Memorial at Luderitz Column. At this point, Dias still didn't know how long the desert ahead was. But there's no turning back. They have traveled nearly 1,500 kilometers along the desert. Turning back for resupply would inevitably result in insufficient supplies. The only option is to continue forward. When the fleet crossed the mouth of the Orange River, freshwater supply finally found. The desert gradually receded. Green plants have reappeared on the shore. The sailors' hope was rekindled. But an unexpected event soon followed. The fleet encountered a severe storm when it reached 33 degrees south latitude. To avoid running aground, Dias had no choice but to sail out to sea. As a result, the supply ship went missing during the storm. Fate unknown. The remaining two ships drifted with the waves like duckweed, living on the edge of life and death every day. After 2 weeks of hellish torture, the sea finally returned to calm. But freshwater is almost exhausted. The food also rotted and spoiled. They must find land. However, the coastline could no longer be seen. Dias judged based on experience. As long as you sail eastward in the Atlantic Ocean, we will surely be able to find the African continent again. Therefore, he ordered them to proceed straight eastward. They continued sailing eastward for several days, but still no land was visible. Dias speculated that the ship had been blown too far by the storm. He then ordered them to continue eastward. Several days and nights passed. The coastline still hasn't appeared. Dias realized something was wrong. Ordered to turn north, after a few days of fast sailing, finally, the outline of land came into view. But this is no longer the familiar West African coast. Instead, it's a completely new eastern coastline. The convoy sailed along the coast. They arrived at Mossel Bay in February 1488. Then continue on to Argoa Bay. Start here. The coastline changes from an east-west direction to a northeast direction. Dias realized his ship has rounded the southernmost coast of Africa, entering Indian Ocean waters. Keep going forward and you'll reach the India you've always dreamed of. However, the crew was already nearing their limit. May betray at any time. Dias was forced to order a return to port. On the way home, they discovered the true southernmost point of Africa, Cape Agulhas. When passing through the storm-affected area again, there, the weather was sunny and the atmosphere was peaceful and tranquil. Dias was filled with mixed emotions. This place was named Storm Cape. Shortly afterward, King João II of Portugal believed the name Storm is too unlucky. Therefore, it was named the Cape of Good Hope.